I want to encourage somebody out there who's thinking about quitting and giving up. Somebody who has been praying for years for things to turn around. You're thinking about quitting, you're thinking about giving up. You are folding, you are caving in. This is for you.
You're in this storm and you're down on your knees and you're cold and you're weak and you feel like this is the end. You have a choice to either give up or keep going. Give up or get up.
One of the things that we know about life is that it is always changing. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. Sometimes things go real well, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes you're happy, and sometimes you're sad. Now that's that thing called life. So you've got to have some reasons that when life knocks you down, and it's going to, it's going to knock you down. When people disappoint you, and that's going to happen. When they betray you, and that's going to happen. When they lie to you, and that's going to happen. When they say, oh, you can count on me, and they won't show up, and that's going to happen. When you want to throw in the towel and give up yourself, and that's going to happen. When life collapses on you and catch you on the blind side, what reason can you remember that you can call on, that you can reach on, that can make you get back up? Find that reason. Because when life had knocked me down, I said, life, I'm doing this because I want to make my mama proud of me. I'm doing this because I want my children to have a better life than what I have. I'm doing this because all my life I've been told I'd be a loser, that I wouldn't make it. I'm doing this to make them a lie. I believe, like Frank Sinatra, he said, the best revenge in life is massive success. I'm doing this so I can become massively successful. And with that kind of courage, with that kind of affirmation and reason to empower me, I got a saying that when life knocks you down, try and land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. When things don't work out for you, when things happen that you could not anticipate, what are the reasons that you can think of that can keep you strong, that can keep you in the game, that will be your rod and staff to comfort you, that can be your bridge over troubled waters? Those reasons are very important. Nietzsche said, if you know the why for living, you can endure almost anyhow. So find out the reasons that you do what you do. Find out the reasons that will make you strong, that will make you walk by faith and not by sight, that will make you pursue your dream when everybody is against you or don't believe in you no more. And let me tell you something, that's a lonely feeling. It's a lonely feeling, particularly people that you're doing it for, or people that stand to benefit the most, or people who should be the #1 members in the encouragement club, but they end up saying, you can't do it, and they become members of the discouragement club. Oh, it hurts very badly. I know what that's like. Have people that you love close to you that look at you with that look and say, why don't you try something else?
There are a few people in this room that know what it's like to be in a situation where everything in your flesh is saying give up. And yet you're in a situation where sometimes you're standing not because you're so strong, you just don't have any other option. You're just backed in a corner, you know, and it's not that you didn't think about quitting. It's not that you're so tenacious and so strong, but life has got you pressed in a corner and you simply cannot let go of anything. And you have to stand there in the middle of the storm and keep pumping your head with the faith to persevere and just say, just hang in there. Just don't give up. Just don't give up. Some kind of way you're going to get through this. Great people are people who don't cave in.
We all go through disappointments in life and things we don't understand. It's easy to get discouraged and lose our passion. But God won't allow anything to happen that will keep you from your purpose. And sometimes He'll move a person out of your life because they're limiting your growth. If you only knew what God was up to, you wouldn't live upset. If you only knew how He's going to connect the dots in your life, you'd get your passion back. Maybe you went through a loss. I know that's difficult, but if you only knew the new doors that are going to open, if you only knew that your latter days will be better than your former days, the best part of your life is still in front of you. You may be off course, thinking you've missed your destiny. If you only knew what great lengths God is going to go to get you back on course. You can't outrun the mercy of God. Don't sit around condemned, listening to the accuser. If you only knew what God was going to do, how He's not just going to restore you, He's going to put you back into purpose. The assignment He has for you didn't get canceled because you took a detour. You're still going to see dreams come to pass. If you only knew what God was doing behind the scenes, if you only knew how He's fighting battles for you, then you would trust Him. You would live from a place of peace. You wouldn't fight all the things you don't like. The disappointments, the betrayals. It was uncomfortable. It didn't make sense, but you wouldn't see your greatness without those challenges. You may have made mistakes, gone through bad breaks. God is saying to you, if you only knew how I'm going to make miracles out of your mistakes. You may have some big obstacles. You don't see how you can overcome the sickness, how you can accomplish your dream. But if you only knew who our God is, our God is alive. He still makes rivers out of deserts. He still brings walls down. Life may have thrown you a curve. You've settled where you are, thinking this is as good as it gets. Just accept those bad breaks limited you. That person that walked away soured your life. God is saying, if you only knew what I'm about to do, I'm about to honor you in front of your enemies. I'm about to free you from what looks permanent. I'm about to bring someone into your life better than you've imagined. The mistakes you made didn't cancel your destiny. You're about to see God show out in your life. See, we get stuck in the heartache, the disappointment, the shame. I should have done better. What was wrong with me? God knows we're human. Now, I'm not saying about being loose and doing whatever you want. When down deep you want to do the right thing, but you make mistakes, that is not going to stop your purpose. What will stop you is if you start living condemned, no passion. You can come up with good reasons why you can't be happy, why your business can't succeed. In your own strength, that may be true, but you're not on your own. The God who breathed life into you is saying, if you only knew the favor I'm about to show you, how I'm going to connect the dots, those things you don't understand that were painful, I saw them and they're going to all work for your good. Sometimes we're disappointed over what we've lost. The person walked away. We don't understand why it didn't work out. It meant so much to me. If you only knew where those disappointments are leading you, like with Joseph, you had to get pushed out. They had to be jealous. It's not that God has forgotten about you, it's that He's positioning you for greater influence. Will you keep a good attitude, not get bitter, not think you've seen your best days? Stay in faith when it doesn't make sense. Do the right thing when the wrong thing has happened. You've been through disappointments, injustice. That's a sign that something awesome is on the way. What God is about to do in your life will not just make up for every wrong, but it will be so rewarding you won't think about what you lost. Try a different approach and say, God, I trust you. If you only knew how He's going to connect the dots, you wouldn't fight everything that doesn't go your way. How your poor choices are not going to stop your destiny, then you'd get your passion back. You'd stir your faith up and start dreaming again, start believing again. If you only knew the gifts God has for you, you would believe big. You'd get rid of the guilt, let go of the discouragement, and get ready for something that you haven't seen. Chains that have held you back are being broken right now. Strongholds in your mind are coming down. The disappointments, the people that tried to stop you, it's all working for your good.
It will be all right in the end. Trust God and believe in good things to come.
If you want to kill a big dream, tell it to a small-minded person.
Beware of vision, dream, and passion killers. Family and friends, in most cases, sad to even say this, family and friends in most cases will be the first to try and talk you out of something that you're passionate, excited about, and that you have a vision for.
Who in your life right now comes up with a problem when you try to think through a solution? So when you say, I want to start my own business, I want to do Shopify, I want to do real estate, I want to create an information product, or whatever it is that you want to do, who in your life tells you you're nuts, tells you you're crazy, tells you that you should think through it more to stop being a dreamer, and you're ignoring it?
You're obsessed with what other people think about you. The thing that's going to kill your dream is your addiction to other people's approval.
You don't have to always inform everyone of your next move. You don't have to tell them about your business deals. You don't have to tell them about anything. You should seek assistance in fulfilling your needs by being secretive to a certain extent.
You know, if you don't surround yourself with other dreamers, here's what I know. If 9 of your friends are broke, you're going to be the 10th one. That's it. If 7 of your friends smoke, you're going to be number 8. If you stay with that circle of friends, you've got to surround yourself with like-minded people.
Most of the people that have no dreams will wake up every day trying to talk you out of your dreams. They have no goals. They have nothing that they're ambitious about. So they will talk you out of all the shit that you're excited about. It's really not expected of them to support you and have your back anyway. They life ain't shit, and if you're trying to do something with your life, they're gonna try and figure out a way to shut you and your plans down as well.
And here's the thing I want you to know right now. Most of the time you go, oh, I can handle that negative person, my negative parent or boyfriend or girlfriend or friend or relative. No, you really can't. No, I'm being honest with you, you can't, because I had it my whole life. Even though you fight through it, you know they're wrong. If just 5% of their own insecurities, their lack of confidence to go for what they really want in life, if just 5% of that sticks in your life, it will create you playing small.
Trying to prove people wrong or right about you is a cheap level of motivation, and it will wear out. In other words, it's not the lack of it. It's not the best type. It's the symptom of the same disease. Right. So proving your family wrong or right is a symptom of the same disease, which is you are still obsessed with what other people are thinking about you and not doing things that make you happy, that enrich you, that fulfill your soul. And so the irony about spending your life worrying about what everybody else thinks about you, here's the irony, is that those people will never be thought about after they're dead. So they spend their life obsessing with everyone thinks about them, only to die and have no one ever remember them. Because people that are so obsessed with what other people think about them never really ever fulfill their potential. So once you can drop that addiction, whether it's friends, strangers, or your parents, and you begin to do things that fulfill you, that make you happy, that change other people's lives by your contribution, now you can be remembered. Now your life echoes into eternity, even if it was a quiet life.
Now, Albert Einstein had a quote. He said, imagination is everything. It's the preview to life's coming attractions. This is important information. Now, let me tell you the problem with your imagination. Problem with your imagination is you tell it to the wrong people. Do you know how many times God has showed you something in your imagination that you knew was just for you? You were so excited when it came to you, you went and you shared it with your family and friends. You know what they did? They shot it down. You know why they shot it down? Because they couldn't see it. You know why they couldn't see it? Because God didn't show it to them. He showed it to you. He showed you the evidence of things not seen. See, you gotta be careful when you share your imagination with small-minded people. Nobody else can see your imagination but you.
If you just make a decision, it can be sometimes the day that starts you on a brand new journey. Maybe a decision you've postponed, and now you understand the penalty of postponing that decision. You've got to do something, and finally you come to the conclusion, today is the day. I now decide. And whether you decide on a new direction, whether you decide to act when before you haven't acted, deciding can be such an incredibly important, very exciting, inspirational day. So that can be an incredible source of inspiration. Now, if you don't follow through, it's not going to last all that long. If you decide and then, postpone and you decide but you still don't get to it for a week or a month or a year, soon all that energy and that source of inspiration is all dissipated. So deciding is inspiring, but not for that long. But once you decide, it can be a very powerful day. But now, of course, you must follow through.
Everything I've ever done started with a fear. But the best way for me to overcome fear is the dream has to be bigger than the fear. That's the only way you turn around and run at it. I just want something so great. I aim for stuff so big that the dream is bigger than the fear.
You cannot believe what can happen to your self-esteem. And many of you have already experienced it. I'm just asking you to begin something new in all the areas of your life. I'm asking you to start taking that stuff now that's in your head, that imagination, which is very powerful. And it's a great source of inspiration in itself. But then I'm asking you then to decide, use that inspiration. Then I'm asking you to make plans, begin to make plans, use that inspiration. And then if you take that first step, it can be the first step of an incredible journey. And beginning can be many things. Beginning a new commitment to learning. You say, I'm going to have a library second to none, and I bought the first book of my new library today. I'm going to be surrounded by information and inspiration. I've gotten started. This is just the first of many, many books. This is the first of a whole flow of information for me. This is the first time. Remember that. Beginning is a fantastic source of inspiration. Planning is an incredible source of inspiration. Deciding is an unbelievable source of inspiration. But now beginning only lasts so long. Progress. One of the greatest sources of inspiration is progress. Once you've gotten started, now you proceed, you progress. Now you go to class the second week, you go to class the third week. But it's not only progressing in terms of time, it's progressing in terms of what you're learning, progressing in terms of getting the information that you hadn't discovered before. Now you're excited about that. When you start jogging around the block, and at first it's a little difficult, and then it's 2 blocks, and then you go around 4 or 5 times. But then you notice you're breathing easier. You notice when you go up a flight of stairs, you're not out of breath. And it suddenly occurs to you, in a fairly short period of time, you're making progress. Then when you start making progress in your business, your ability to make contacts, your ability to talk to people. Being so shy, you decided one day, hey, I've had enough with being too shy. I've made the decision, I'm making some plans, I'm going to begin talking to people. And you start, and at first it's difficult. But then, very quickly, and it doesn't take a year, I'm telling you, it doesn't take a month, it doesn't take a week. I promise you, even though you're a little bit shy, if you'll just start to introduce yourself, if you'll just start to talk to someone you've never talked to before, but also understanding that with this new skill now, with this new ability, and with my progress, no telling what I can accomplish.
I really came close once, about 3 years ago. She was pretty, tall, trim. We both liked movies. I liked football, and she didn't mind football that much, so that was okay. But I really wanted to be sure we were doing the right thing. You know, marriage is such a big step. It's a lifelong commitment. So we were talking about the future, what our life might be like. And just like that, she said a couple of things that really bothered me. So I wanted to make double sure I was marrying the right girl. So I went home one night and I wrote down all the things that I wanted our relationship to be. I spelled everything out really clearly. I mean, I really thought this thing through. Religion, children, where we'd live, who our friends would be. Because I didn't want there to be any doubts or misunderstandings. I wanted it to be clear. I even mentioned a couple of her bad habits. I thought it'd be a good idea if she had just a little constructive criticism. Well, the next time we got together, I brought this document out, and I thought that we would have a nice, easy conversation about it.
and you couldn't believe her reaction. She blew up. I couldn't believe it. She told me straight where to go, and she called our engagement off right then and there. She actually said, "I don't need a boss, George, so just forget it." And you know, in thinking back, maybe I did go a little overboard, but it just seems to me that making that big a decision, you can't be too careful, right?
Wrong, George. Absolutely wrong. You can be too careful. In fact, you were too careful. The test of a successful person is not the ability to eliminate all problems before they arise, but rather to meet and work out difficulties when they do arise. We must be willing to make an intelligent compromise with perfection, or else we will wait forever because conditions will never be right. Cross bridges when you come to them, not before.
About 2 years ago, my wife and I lived in an apartment, one of those places out in the suburbs. It wasn't too big, but it was kind of nice. But it really cost a mint to rent, $750 a month, which was a lot, and we'd been kind of saving up some money to buy a place of our own, knowing that that would take a long time. But what would happen is every time I made out the rent check, I thought, no, there's got to be a better way. This is not what I want to be doing. So one day when I was making out the rent check, I said to my wife, I said, Susan, let's go buy a place of our own. And she looked at me and she said, well, yeah, we can't do that. We've only got $6,000 in the bank. We need at least twice that much to make a down payment. And I said, well, nah, there's got to be a way to do this. I mean, people buy houses all the time. And why don't we just go for it and see if we can make it happen? So she said, okay, let's give it a try. And we started to look for places. We looked for about a week or so and came up with a nice place that we needed $15,000 to make a down payment for, which meant we needed to come up with another $9,000. It turned out we couldn't borrow the money from a bank. We went around to all of our banks, and we're kind of stuck for a bit, but then, see, it was a new house, and I thought I could go to the builder and maybe he could loan it to me. And I did, and he went with the idea. And that meant we only had to come up with another $450 a month to pay back this loan, because we're going to pay it back over a 2-year period. And we sat down and redid our budget and squeezed another $200 out of it. So we needed to find another $250. And then Susan had an idea. She said, well, wait a minute, I can maybe go talk to my boss because he's advertising for another part-time person. And she did. She explained the situation. We needed another $250, and she knew he couldn't afford to give her a raise. But if she could do this other job, he would get a good employee, we could get the money, and everybody be happy. Well, the guy was so surprised, he said, yeah, let's do it. Let's go for it. So we did it. Everybody was happy. We're paying the house off now. We're living in a nice place. And I guess where there's a will, there is a way.
Jim and Susan get A's for action on this one. They didn't let obstacles stand in their way, and they didn't wait for things to be just right before they acted. They decided they wanted something, and they went for it. The resolution to take action ignited their minds to think of ways to accomplish their goals. On top of that, they both gained tremendously in new confidence. It'll be much easier for both of them to take action in future situations.
Both of these examples point up the benefits of action. You give your ideas value by acting on them. Again, regardless of how good an idea is, it is useless until you act on it. A good idea not acted upon brings tremendous psychological pain, but a good idea acted upon brings enormous mental satisfaction and peace of mind.
You cannot get people to believe in your dream until you believe in it yourself. Stop asking people to invest in things where you have no investment. Nobody's going to put into your dream before you put in. You have to invest in what you dream for.
It was my dream. It was my goal. I don't expect you to believe in my dream like I believe in my dream. And the problem with some of y'all is you want somebody else to support your dream. It's yours. It's your dream. If you want it to happen, get your butt up and make it happen. If you want it to happen, rise and grind.
I have never met anybody who became incredibly successful in any area of their life until they had suffered and sweated and sacrificed and kept their focus and fought through tears and trials and tests. And if you have a dream and you commit to it, it will come to pass.
Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality.
When you have a dream, it doesn't often come at you screaming in your face, this is who you are, this is what you must be for the rest of your life. Sometimes a dream almost whispers. And I've always said to my kids, the hardest thing to listen to, your instincts, your human personal intuition, always whispers, it never shouts. Very hard to hear. So you have to, every day of your lives, be ready to hear what whispers in your ear. It very rarely shouts. And if you can listen to the whisper, and if it tickles your heart, and it's something you think you want to do for the rest of your life, then that is going to be what you do for the rest of your life, and we will benefit from everything you do.
Anybody can dream it, but you'll never see it until you're willing to be committed to it. I was telling somebody the other day, we worked when we didn't have food. We worked when we didn't have lights. I was putting my whole check in the offering, all of it, trying to keep it going. When I finally got some staff, I went on the road preaching. And whatever I made on the road preaching, I brought it home to make the payroll of the staff. And sometimes I got them paid and couldn't pay me. Commitments. Looked like a fool. Didn't have any clothes. Suits was falling off me. They laughed at me. Looked like an old raggedy country preacher. I had holes in my shoes. I couldn't kneel down and pray because if I knelt down to pray, they would see holes in my shoes. They laughed at me. They said that boy's lost his mind. He'll never be nothing. He stutters. He's got a lisp when he speaks. He'll never be a preacher. I don't care what you think. If you are committed to what you believe, you'll never, never, never bring down somebody who is committed.
There's so much knowledge out there, so much information, so many ways to get better, and we make we make so many mistakes. We're the product of our mistakes.
Everyone starts to blame other people for their problems. Well, I can't succeed because of racism or xenophobia or homophobia, some of which might be legitimate. You are the master of your own destiny. It starts with making your bed in the morning, being the best version of yourself, and being a champion of the decisions you make.
Your breaking point is your breakthrough point.
If God can remove something from your life that you never dreamed of losing, can't you trust him to bring something new and better in your life that you never dreamed of?
Oftentimes the lesson is sitting there right in front of our face. It's there to be learned, but we miss it, or we don't pay attention to it, or we think we know better until it punches us in the face. And the most important thing to learn is that we have so much to learn. We all do. And we can learn from school and from people and from experience, and we learn from life. But you have to process the information. You have to absorb it. You have to accept it. You have to open your mind. You gotta free your mind so that you can learn and make real progress.
At some point, you have to learn that life is about what's possible for you right here, right now. It's about how high you can jump today, not where you fell yesterday. If you're going to live fully, this is the correct attitude. Right here, right now. So what's the problem? Why do we run away from the moment? Why does the moment terrify us? It's supposed to be simple. From this point right here, right now, you can create the rest of your life. The decision in the moment to change. But it's not that simple. It's not that easy to just capture the moment. The reason it's so hard to capture the moment is because the moment is always dragging along a past or preparing for a future. The moment, for most people, is either depressing, that is when the past is tagging along, or it's riddled with anxiety, that's when you can't trust the future. Depression and anxiety, where you came from and where you're going, are constantly spoiling the moment.
You got to become a risk taker. Viscott said, if you're not willing to risk, you can't grow. And if you can't grow, you can't become your best. And if you can't become your best, you can't be happy. And if you can't be happy, then what else is there? You know what? I saw Dr. Norman Vincent Peale 23 years ago. But for 13 years, I wouldn't take the chance. For 13 years, I was living in my comfort zone. For 13 years, I kept saying, I can't do that. There's an old African proverb that says, if there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm.
You get one shot at this gig right here. Life. One life. That's all you've got. And regret, in and of itself, it's worthless. It does nothing for you. In fact, the only valuable thing in regret is the lesson you learned, the knowledge that you gained. But walking around filled with regret gets you nothing. So, learn and move on. Don't let regret beat you down. Don't be a slave to regret. No. Let it teach you. Let it make you better.
When you are trying to get to the next level, and you can see where you're trying to get to, there is a ceiling that you have to break through. But in order to get to the next level, it's because you can see what you want to become. But the only reason you can see the next level is because this ceiling is made of glass. In order to get to the next level, you must be willing to break through the glass. Anytime you break through glass, you are going to get cut. you are going to bleed. And in order to get to the next level, you are going to have to give up something that you care about. You cannot take everything with you. See, all your friends, they can't go to the next level because they'll get up there with you, and the way they behave, they'll mess it up for you. The cut is going to put some bruises and blood, but that's the only way to get to the next level. I understood that. I knew that I could not remain the same and change. You got to grow. You can't hang out with everybody you've been hanging out with to go to the next level. You can't do everything you used to do. If you do that, you'll never grow.
If you're going to be successful, you have to take risks. I have never known a successful person that didn't come to the line, didn't come to the edge, and then have to weigh this whole situation. Should I go forward? Or should I stay in the safety zone, in the comfort zone? And what I have known is every successful person has been daring. They've put, at times, their reputation at risk. They at times have put their time at risk. They at times have put their money at risk. I'm not talking about foolish throwing things to the wind. No, no, no. I'm talking about the fact that if you want to be better than average, you've got to get out of the average comfort zone that most people are in. The financial rewards of life are determined usually by the risk that we take to have them. Most of the people that do well because they reach far.
You still have a dream of living your perfect life, but you failed at it twice and you've lost some good friends already in the process. What are you going to do? This is what the moment feels like. It comes sometimes in a rush. It comes suddenly, but when the moment comes, what are you going to do? This is what right here and right now looks like. It doesn't happen outside of your fears or your doubts or anxieties. The moment happens with your fears. It happens with your doubts and with your anxieties. And these things are asking you, what are you going to do? The people who make it in this world are the people who arrive at the moment. They feel the fear and they step forward anyway. They feel the doubt and they reach anyway. They feel the anxiety. The anxiety for them is real, it's engulfing, but they take a leap anyway. You can run from it. You can try to hide. But 5 years from now, after you've missed opportunity after opportunity, after more things have broken in your life, after pain has turned into suffering, you'll arrive again at the moment where it's not about where you came from or what happened to you, or about the future you can't control. When you get there again, what are you going to do? Because the moment is all you get. Right here, right now is all you really have. What's possible for you right here, right now? Whatever that is, go after it now.
Let the fear of regret fuel you to take action today, now. To take action now to become a better person. Not filled with regret, but filled with knowledge. Filled with knowledge and strength and power and filled with life.
No matter how disguised the urge, everybody wants to do something extraordinary. Everybody wants to be the hero of their story. And everybody has a dream, a vision of what's possible for them, despite the circumstances. I've discovered that some people can take a dream and turn it into an unbelievable reality, while others take that same thing, that dream, and turn it into an absolute failure. You see, it's easy to say, I have a dream. That's easy. You can say that when the enthusiasm is there. You can say that when your friends are still with you. You can say that when you have enough money in the bank. But I'm telling you, it's hard to say, I still have a dream. I still have a dream. Can't you say that after your phone stops ringing? Can't you say that after your friends turn on you? And after the people that you're doing it for stop believing in you? Can you stand up and say, I still have a dream? Dream chasing isn't for the serious, it's for the sincere. And the difference between being serious and being sincere is that serious people have a can-do attitude. But sincere people have a must-do attitude. That's how dreams become reality. They become a must. My children must survive. My life must change. My diet must improve. There's something about that attitude that's transformative. And sincere people understand it. They understand that your dreams can shape-shift on you. You thought your dream was setting you up for something over there. But no, it's dragging you over here into this corner.
So I'll hear people say, if you believe it, then you can achieve it. And the problem with that is they're leaving out the most important part of the equation. And that part is work, action, actually doing something. That's what you have to do to achieve anything. Yeah, you gotta believe it, but you better get the work done.
And most people will not be successful. They will not reach whatever they wrote because when there's not anything emotionally attached to it, they're going to quit and give up. Most people were closer than they ever thought they were to finishing that big thing, but they never finished it because they didn't feel like finishing it. Or they were doing it and it was pain. And most people quit in the pain because the pain hurts so bad that they don't know if they want to keep going to get to go. Because you're going to wake up most days and not feel like it. You're going to wake up most days and not be pumped up. You're going to wake up most days and not feel like doing it. But when you can get to a point that you do it anyway, then there's no way you won't reach any of your goals.
There's things that you know you're supposed to do as a human being, things that you know are going to improve your life. Do those things. There's things that you know are going to make you a worse person and make your life worse. Don't do those things. Get up early, do some kind of workout, eat good foods, clean your room, make a list of things that you're supposed to do in your life, and then wake up in the morning and do those things. And no, it is not easy. But you're not going to get it from anyone else but you.
You think things are gonna just go your way? Well, they're not gonna just go your way. You gotta make them go your way. You think things are gonna just happen for you? Well, they're not just gonna happen for you. You gotta make them happen.
Everyone seems to think that this world, this government, somebody owes them something. Nobody owes you shit. If you want something, go out there and get it. Go out there and fucking take it. That's all there is to it. You need to stop this whining, this crying all the damn time, and get up and do something about it. And the biggest thing I see getting in the way is your fucking feelings. Your feelings. Where there's a will, there's a way. When you've got air in your lungs, then you have no excuse. It's just a matter of perspective. You're either gonna be a fucking sheep, or you're gonna be a lion. You're gonna be an attacker and a go-getter. But if you want to sit there and cry and moan and whine all the fucking time while you can't, then you sit your ass on that bench with the losers, and you stay there. But don't expect me to turn around and pat you on the back and say, hey, good job for being a fucking quitter. Get up and do something about it.
People who win can do and people who lose talk You can win if you choose to learn the things that you need to do and then can do them. That's reality. That's the nobody wants to admit, because admitting so means that you have to take responsibility for where you are currently. And you have to say, I am where I am currently because I didn't do X, Y, and Z. And guess what? That hurts a little bit. But once you accept that truth, you are able to then move forward with the actions required to get you to where you want to go.
Discipline your body. Free your mind. Get up early and go. Get after it, and you will become the person you want to be. And you become that person through one small decision at a time.
Life responds to deserve, not need. Life was not designed to give us what we need. Life was designed to give us what we deserve. Once you understand that little life principle in your own self-interest, I'm telling you, it's life-changing. The ancient law does not go like this. If you need, you will reap. No, it doesn't work that way. A lot of people out there are hoping it works that way. But no, it doesn't. The ancient law goes like this. If you plant, you will reap. If you sow, you will reap. Somebody says, well, I really need to reap. Well, then you really need to plant in your own self-interest. Your own self-interest needs to be educated in how to plant, how to do it so everybody wins. Because life doesn't respond to need. You can't go to the soil and say, I need a crop. The soil just smiles at you. And here's what the soil says. Don't bring me your need, bring me some seed. Bring me some effort. Bring me some discipline. Bring me some interest. Bring me some service. Bring me these things, and I'll return to you multiplied by 2 times, 5 times, 10 times. You can't come with need. You've got to come with seed. You've got to come with willingness. You've got to come with skills. You've got to be willing to learn, willing to change, willing to grow, willing to put yourself out, willing to stand up to the bad weather, willing to pull out the weeds, willing to nurture. That's the only way you get a return. Once you understand these principles, self-interest now truly becomes an exciting challenge, making sure everybody wins. Now here's another one. If you want to find, you must search. And if you search, you will find. In order to find, you must search. You must go to the seminar. You must go to the library. You've got to go to the bookstore. You've got to go to the class. You've got to go searching. Why? If you search, you will find. You'll find ideas. You'll find inspiration. You'll find hope. You'll find contacts. But you've got to be out there, on the search, on the look. Life reserves its treasures for those who deserve it, not those who need it. Enlightened self-interest, giving so that you will receive, searching so that you will find, making sure that everybody wins all the way around. Enlightened self-interest needs to be educated. Enlightened self-interest says, I will learn that life is not just the passing of time. I will learn that life is the collection of experiences, ups and downs, highs and lows, laughter and tears. You must decide to act. You must have the discipline to act. Now here's what's important about discipline. One discipline affects another discipline. All disciplines affect each other. In fact, here's a good philosophical phrase. Everything affects everything else. Nothing stands alone. Don't be naive and say, this doesn't matter. Of course it matters. It all matters. Some things may matter more than others, but everything matters. If you'd rather sleep in than go for a walk around the neighborhood, pretty soon it will matter. If you'd rather spend your money instead of saving it, pretty soon it will matter. If you'd rather work late every night instead of going home and spending time with your family, pretty soon it will matter. It all matters. Every letdown affects the rest. If you won't walk around the block, you probably won't eat right. And you probably won't buy the books. And you probably won't attend the seminar. And you probably won't spend your money wisely. And after years of this, it all adds up. So the key to reversing this process is to start picking up the disciplines. It does matter. It all matters. Now, here's the positive side. Every new discipline affects the rest. Every new discipline makes a difference. That's why action is so important. The smallest action, the least action, the action that you won't think will matter. It all matters. Take it. Because when you start accomplishing and the value starts to return, you'll find inspiration to do the next one and the next one and the next one. If you start walking around the block, it'll inspire you to start eating right. You start eating right, it'll inspire you to get a book. You get a book and it'll inspire you to get a journal. You get a journal and it'll inspire you to develop some skills. Disciplines affect each other. Lack affects the rest of your life. The key is to diminish the lack. One of our greatest temptations is to just ease up a bit, to do just a little bit less than you're capable of, to take a little break. Somebody says, it'll just affect my sales. No, it'll affect your consciousness. It'll affect your philosophy. It'll affect your home life. It'll affect everything. No, you can't ease up a bit. That's what vacations are for. When you're at work, work. When you're on vacation, rest. Wherever you are, be there. If you think about vacation when you're at work, you'll surely think about work when you're on vacation. You'll just mess it all up. So be disciplined. Get involved. Do all that it takes to get the job done. Get your health back. Get your bank account where it's supposed to be. Get your family in order. Get disciplined, be disciplined every day. When you set up the disciplines that give your life structure, miracles can happen. Multiplied. And I'm telling you, anybody who wants to make a drastic change in their income can do it. I was broke at age 25 and a millionaire at age 31. Everything around me was the same. I changed. I refined my philosophy. I read the books. I took the classes. Started looking at life a little differently. I'm telling you, it worked.
There's no secret to success. There's a system to success. The system works if you work it. If you don't work it, it won't work. But it works if you work it. And that's one 4-letter word that most people don't like. They're not willing to work. I have a friend who invited me to her brother's house to help him to get off drugs, to introduce him to a drug program that can help him. And I said, these people can help you, but you've got to be willing to do the work. And after we finished, he asked us to leave. And I'll never forget what she said. As we were going down the steps, she said, Les, I do apologize for wasting your time, but I realized when my brother knew that it would require work for him to get off drugs, that most people won't participate in their own risk. And there are people who will be presented with an opportunity, who know that they could be laid off at any moment, who know that there's no such thing as job security, who know that them keeping their job has nothing to do with how good they are. Yet and still, they'll go to work and have knots in their stomachs, hoping when they open up an email that they have not been told this is your last day. They'll go to work hoping there's not a security guard standing by their desk with a box and say, empty your things in here and take them to the front door and escort them to the park. They go in there hoping it doesn't happen. Why? Because they don't want to do the work. It's an aversion to most people's spirit.
And I'm walking around in the jungle and I said, well, Lord, I can't fly like the eagle. I can't run like the cheetah. I can't roar like the lion, and I can't throw my weight around like the elephant. What did you give man as his defense in the whole ecosystem of human, of life force? What did you give me? He said, I gave you a brain. That's why God didn't make chairs. He only brings it halfway. We are taught that God makes furniture. I want you to look around your life for trees, not tables. God's gonna bring it within the reach of your mind, and your creativity is gonna take it the rest of the way. Look at what all we were able to do. No other creature, no other species has sent satellites up into the air, created smartphones. Look at what we did with our head. Why are we not using our head?